Welcome to True Grit Southern Cooking and Canning from the foothills of North Carolina. Here we believe in cooking from scratch, growing your own food, and living a sustainable lifestyle. We hope you learn a little something today, and we're glad you joined us. Good morning, y'all. It's Megan again. Hope everybody's doing good. Thank you for joining me again. I'm excited about today's video. I've had so many people ask me about fall gardening, and we have just got ours up and going, just got our plants in the ground, so I'm excited to talk to y'all a little bit about that. First things first though, looky here. This is the beginnings of my milking stanchion for my cows, so I'm excited about that. I hope, especially the older cow, once I can get her somewhere that she can't run away from me when I'm rubbing her, that I'll eventually be able to get some milk from her too. But some more exciting news. I do have more cookbooks for my local folks. Just shoot me a message and I can get that to you. And look here, guys. Can you see that? T-shirts. I now have t-shirts for the YouTube channel. So if you want a t-shirt, leave me a comment and I'll send you my email, and we can do it through PayPal. Is the only way I have to do it right now. So yeah, I am right now, I'm vacuum sealing some country ham that we cured back in the winter, and we just recently sliced it. If you don't have a vacuum sealer and you're wanting to preserve food, you have freezer space, a vacuum sealer is an excellent investment. So yeah, let's get to it. So I've got my ham in the bag. You can get bags either pre-made or already cut for you.
It's already cut.
Or you can get some in just a roll and you cut them yourself. So I choose to get the ones that I just cut myself because I can adjust the sizes as I need. And I'm going to tell you, we just got this last year. The Excalibur is wonderful for as much vacuum sealing as we do. But don't put down the Food Savers. We used the Food Saver for like 7 years before it finally died. So if you're looking into possibly investing in a vacuum sealer, a Food Saver will do you just fine to get started. So what we do is, I'm gonna lift this lid here. My little helper is gonna hit the green button. And there you have it. Beautiful vacuum sealed ham. So we're going to get all this done before we get to the fall gardening. So, yeah, that's right. So I'll be back with y'all in a second. Alright, we got our ham done. So now we're heading down to the garden. See if we can teach y'all a little something about fall gardening and that you can have fresh vegetables without a greenhouse. And they're not only for the spring and summer. So here we go. Guys, so we are down here at one of my gardens. This will be our only fall garden because the garden at the house we usually let the goats in. They take care of everything after we're done with it, and then put the chickens in to give us some fertilizer for next year. So anyways, there are plants that do great this time of year. So your fresh vegetables don't have to be just for the spring and summer. So vegetables such as broccoli, cabbage, collards, Brussels sprouts, those all do great this time of year. And of course salad. I'm sure people around that's local to me have heard of a salad patch. But that's like your turnip greens, your mustard greens, and all that. So I've got all that sowed as well down here. But the plants that you see, we choose our broccoli, cabbage, and collards. We choose to go ahead and buy starter plants for those instead of planting them from seed. It's just a little easier for us. But as far as our salad patch goes, we do plant that with seeds. Some other great plants to plant in your fall garden are your root crops, such as carrots, beets. I'm trying to think. Of course, turnips, because you're going to get your turnips from your turnip greens. But root crops like that do excellent this time of year. They love the cool weather. If you've ever planted cabbage or broccoli in the late spring before the summer, they just cannot handle the heat. They usually don't do well in the heat. But another great thing about planting a fall garden is when it gets real cool outside. If we had have a mild winter like we did last winter here, I was getting cabbage. It kind of preserves it. It's like they're in an outdoor refrigerator. The soil temperature slows down the growth of the plant once it does get so cold in the winter. So your plants are out here in your garden in an outdoor refrigerator. I was getting cabbage all winter long last year. And the great thing is you don't have to worry about bugs once it starts getting a little colder. Now, right now, it's a concern. And weeds are right here at the very end of the summer. So we do have to kind of stay on top of that. I see. So we do have to kind of stay on top of the weeds, which we'll do with a tiller and a good old-fashioned hoe. So we'll do that until it gets cold enough that the weeds are not going to take it over. If you don't have a big garden spot like this, don't worry. You can still grow your own food. Maybe not to the extent that we do here with this large spot, but raised beds do great for these cold crops. And you can do them in pots. You can do them with the no-till way, which I'm going to show y'all here in a little bit. That's how we did our pumpkins this year. And so I'm going to show y'all that method as well. Or in your flower beds. My flower beds, even though they do have a few flowers, they're mostly like vegetable plants. Because the flower beds where they've had mulch on them all these years, just mulch and mulch, you know, to make the yard look pretty, it's excellent. The vegetables do excellent in the flower garden. So, you know, they get taken over by vegetable plants too, which is fine with me. You know, we're utilizing the space that we have. So flower beds also make excellent growing spaces. But anybody can grow a fall garden. So don't just think when the spring is over or the summer is over that you're done with your fresh vegetables. Because like I said, the frost won't hurt any of these. So frost is no concern when you're planting cold crops. Alright, so this here is one of our pumpkin plants. We planted them a little late. I don't know if we'll get any pumpkins off of them or not. You know, that was our fault. But the way we did these, you can see this area is real grassy. We dug a hole, a pretty good size hole, to make sure that the dirt was loose around the pumpkin plants that we were planting. And then we planted the plant, and we put our natural fertilizer in it, which is our compost from our chicken coops. We put that in the ground with the plant. So these have not had any chemical fertilizer whatsoever. But your biggest concern when doing the no-till method is the weeds taking it over. So what we did to combat that was we put straw, a large thick layer of straw around the area where we planted it, and it has done amazing keeping the weeds and everything down. So I would recommend that if you don't have a big garden spot. It's not just with pumpkins, you could do this with any kind of plant, because this right here, the straw, is keeping the sunlight off the weeds and the grass, so that way nothing can grow up around your plant. You can do this with straw, hay, or like shredded newspaper. Any of that would work good for this method. Alright guys, so that's it for today's video. Fall gardening is very simple. You can do it. you just plant the right kind of plants. I mean, it's amazing to me that frost does not bother that stuff, but it doesn't. So they love cool weather. Again, that's your cabbage, broccoli, collards, or any kind of greens, mustard greens, turnip greens. Actually, I find that they're better after the frost bites them anyway, because it kind of gets rid of some of that bitterness. Brussels sprouts, I'm trying to think, as far as your above ground crops, that's, you know, anything that's in those families will do great in the cool weather. And then your root crops, such as your beets and your carrots, they'll also do great. And you can also plant garlic and onions this time of year. You won't harvest those until the spring of next year. But my garlic did great when I planted this time last year. So yeah, those are things just to keep in mind. You don't have to have a big tilled up spot. You can plant it anywhere. So I hope this helped you some, and happy gardening to you. And I'll talk to y'all next time.